Yes, we're back.
That was a shot at me, wasn't it?
It's exciting, Josh. We're back. You're back.
Welcome back.
Oh,
Dreams were your ticket out.
another missed opportunity. Wow. Well, I don't know. The next time you take an 8-week hiatus, I'll use that one. So, but man, it's good to see you. How you doing?
Yeah, doing okay. Good to be back.
That's good. Nice. It's so great. Now I will say we had some real intrepid troopers in your absence. Tomer called in all the way from Eretz Israel to help me out with a stream on a couple of hours notice. That first one that you missed, and then Chrissy Hansen again at the last minute was able to jump in and help out. So that was great. That was awesome. It feels like we might have opened the floodgates though. I've been getting requests now. People want to be part of this, which is exciting. It's cool, right? So we will see what happens in the future. I mean, I think there is one thing that we can certainly say about today's show.
The show today is no exception to some of the great work that I've done in the past.
It will never die.
Never. It will never die. Awesome. Well,
I just wanted to point out Joanna is here. Joanna's from Clubhouse, and she's been talking up the streams. So Joanna, welcome.
Welcome, Joanna. Thanks for coming. That's awesome. So, before we dive into, we're gonna start reading 1 Kings chapter 1 in verse 36, and as usual, Josh and I will alternate. We'll take turns reading the Hebrew text, providing our own translation, and then we will point out some of the features of the grammar and the syntax, and maybe some interesting textual elements as we go. But before we start, I wanted to take just like 5 minutes to talk about something that's been weighing on my spirit. Josh, have you ever heard of the prophetic perfect? Yes,
I have.
Yes, you have. Yeah. So, this is maybe I'll just get into this. So this is something that I got into on Twitter. I got into it with somebody about I think it's the fourth servant song in Isaiah, or is it the third servant song in Isaiah 53? I can't remember. Someone in the chat will let me know. And is it the fourth? So
and to walk through them in my brain.
Yeah. Anyways, I pointed out that all the forms in Isaiah 53 are they're Vav consecutives, right? These are indicative of completed action. And I was told that no, you see, these are prophetic perfects. What is a prophetic perfect? You might ask.
Gesenius.
What's that?
Let's check Gesenius. I'm sure we'll.
He actually talks about that. He does. But more eruditely than some, certainly. I had this happened a few weeks back, and when I encountered this conversation, uh, a respondent gave me like a nice 2 or 3 sentence definition of the prophetic perfect. I found this one just today when I was looking that is very close to it. I'm just going to read part of this here, and it's actually about Isaiah 53, right? Modern Hebrew does indeed have tenses, and that we must not forget. However, biblical Hebrew is not a tense-conscious language. Modern grammarians refer to biblical Hebrew as an aspectual language. The same form of a verb can be translated as either past, present, or future, depending, of course, on the context and uniquely various grammatical prompts. The most well-known grammatical prompt in translator circles is what is referred to as the vowel consecutive. That makes an imperfect verb refer to the past. This vowel consecutive is a linguistic structure in biblical Hebrew that comprises prefacing a verb form with the letter vav in order to change its tense and or aspect. Therefore, it is wrong. It's wrong, Josh, to say that Isaiah 53 and a huge number of other prophecies are in the past tense, and therefore must refer to a time before Isaiah. Biblical Hebrew has no tenses. There are many examples of what is wrongly called the past tense, properly called the perfective or perfect.
It can mean anything.
Yeah, right? Right? Being used for futuristic predictive prophecy. This called prophetic perfect tense is simply a literary technique used in the Bible that describes future events that are so certain to happen that they are referred to in the past tense as if they already happened. It sounds profoundly confusing if you don't know Hebrew, but that is exactly what folks say when English is learned as a second language. So what do you figure? What do you think about this, Josh?
One of the things that I've noticed is that motivated readers will always stick to objective translations, right? They're never going to read into a text something that's not there. You won't see that happen.
Never. No.
Because we saw this in
They'll
Genesis
never.
too, right? You can definitely see the pluperfect.
Yes, in Genesis 2:17, where God had created, He had formed all the animals from the dirt. I believe that's a good example. But I hope people can see that this is silly, right? Like you can want there to be a prophetic perfect, this expression of future prediction that's so certain that you have to write it using the perfect aspect. But it just when you encounter text like this in the Bible, you have to ask the question every time: how do I know this is a prophetic perfect as opposed to just a normal perfect? Is there anything within the structure or within the conjugations of the verb forms to tell me, as somebody who knows something about the language, is there any clues that I can use to determine when it's right to translate things as prophetic perfects? Any ideas?
I got nothing. I mean, if you see Jesus in the text, that's usually like a marker.
Prophetic perfect, right? That's it. There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's got to be it. So I did want to share one other thing before we actually get into the text here. So I posted this on Twitter, and this is from Walt Keown O'Connor's Hebrew Grammar and Syntax, where they talk about what aspect is, because this really gets me, is how much people misunderstand what aspect is, and then abuse it as a means of basically saying I can make the language say whatever I want it to say. So let's look at this, people. The English word aspect refers to two entirely separate sets of grammatical categories. Aspect as the counter of action, perfective, progressive, etc., and aspect as the type of action, causative, stative, etc., etc. Sorry. The Semitic languages have well-developed expressions of both systems, in then that they formally distinguish aspect through conjugations and action sort by stems. So that's the type of action versus the contour of action. Thus, the English reader must always be wary of the naked term aspect in connection with Semitic studies. In another section, they go on to say the time frame in which the perfective situation occurs influences the significance of the form. Referring to past time, the perfective form signifies completed events. Clear temporal modifiers can characterize Hebrew narrative of past events. Hebrew also uses the perfective form for a present situation in which a speaker resolves on future action, hence perfective of resolve. We've already noted that in other languages, which are aspectually oriented, the perfective aspect may be associated with future situations. The same holds in Hebrew. Temporal indicators mark the future time in which the temporal situation occurs. So basically, what Walkie and O'Connor are saying there, and really what the lesson is in working on and studying Hebrew, just follow the context, people.
Yep.
Just follow the context.
This is one of these things that if you're doing this, I don't want to say if you're doing it right, but if you're just being sensitive to the context, a lot of times these things will have to be pointed out to you because you'll translate it and you'll translate it correctly. And they'll say, did you notice that that was in the perfect? And you go, oh, yeah, that's right. That's interesting. But it's because your brain is anticipating, having read the language a little bit, your brain is anticipating it to mean a certain thing because of the context. It's not that, and this is something that, and then we can start, but like this is something that you see from the pulpit a lot, right? A pastor will sit down, he'll go through a passage, he's got like a year or two of a language under his belt, and he's like, okay, gonna take 10 hours and pound through these 5 verses or something, right? He gets his books out and he gets his grammars, he's like checking stuff and he goes, oh, wait a second, this is in the perfect. I remember something about that. I wonder if there's any nuance to that I can like, read into. Does that suggest something here? And it's like, oh my God, no, just pick up a commentary, please, for the love of God. Anyway, not that I have strong feelings about that sort of thing.
Well, with that out of the way, let's read some text, Josh?
All right, let's do it.
Okay. So, do you want to start at verse 36? Now, because you were absent for so long, a lot has happened in the text since you were away. So, Bathsheba was very alarmed because Nathan the prophet came and told her that Adonijah was basically usurping the throne from David. So they hatched this plot to go and see King David and basically put him on the spot to ensure that he followed through with his promise that Solomon, the son of Bathsheba, would rule after him. So David has now just gone through and given instructions to everybody what they're supposed to do to make sure that they stop the coup and that Solomon ends up rightfully on the throne of Israel. And here we start in verse 36 with Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada.
So I want to apologize in advance to everybody. Oliver, my 6-year-old, has done something with my iPad. It has gone I know not where, as Loki said. So he has sent it off somewhere. I know not where. So I won't be able to do my cool little drawings. Sorry, everybody.
Wow, look, everybody just left Josh. As soon as he
It's
said
just
that, everyone's gone.
all right. Vaya'an Benayahu ven Yehoyada et hamelech vayomer amen ke yomar Adonai Elohei Adoni hamelech. And Benayahu answered, the son of Jehoiada answered the king, saying, and said, Amen, right? Like, verily, truly, yes, just like that. Word, maybe, is a good way to do that.
Word.
That's
the Gen X, translation.
Yeah, there you go.
Sure, right.
Thus, may Yahweh, the God of my Lord the King, like thus may he say, thus may be, like what he also says, just as David had said, may Yahweh also like say the same thing. So a couple of things to point out. This is the Vav consecutive imperfect, as we've expected, third masculine singular from ayin nun hey, so a third week. Notice that when you put the Vav consecutive on the front, it pops the hey right off the end, so the third hey pops off or drops out.
Pop it right off.
And notice the accent shifts back. So instead of it being vaya'aneh or something, it's just vaya'an. So again, I'm pointing out little things here. Notice that there's no Dagish forte here or line in the beginning of Ben here. And the reason is because it is following a vowel, so it becomes spirantized. Remember, if there's air flowing through your mouth because you're saying the sound of a vowel, almost always that will make it so that you'll get air flowing through the mouth as opposed to a bilabial stop or something. So instead of Benayahu Ben, you get Benayahu Ven. It flows through. Interestingly enough, I had this CD years ago, 501 Hebrew idioms, I think. And I remember a bunch of them, but the one that sticks had like two ways that you could say it. Avot, achlu voser v'shinei vanim tikhena. The fathers have eaten sour grapes and the children's teeth are set on edge. Or you could say, Avot, achlu boser v'shinei banim tikhena.
That's a lot
or v'shinei banim tikhena. Anyway, I don't know why I said any of that.
It's because of the doggish, Josh.
There you go. It just drives everything.
Yeah.
So So here's a jussive form. So a cal jussive, third masculine singular from ayin aleph mem resh. Amar to say. So thus may he say, may Yahweh, God of my Lord. And if you, I know we always, maybe not always, but we often point this sort of thing out. Notice the vowel pointing that's on the tetragrammaton. This is for Adonai as opposed to Yahweh or Yahweh. So, as opposed to pronouncing this Yahweh, Elohei, Adoni, you'll often hear it, I think, as I pronounced it, Adonai, Elohei, Adoni.
Yeah.
Notice that Adoni and Hamelech are in apposition to one another. And actually, so Yahweh, so Yahweh, God of my Lord, the King.
Who is the King?
Yeah. So. Yeah.
By the way, I did a, was it 2 weeks ago that Sidney Davis Jr. did her Skeptic University. I did a whole lecture on Yahweh that you guys can watch there, and I took a few minutes and walked through the vocalization and the change by the Masoretes and why it's pronounced the way it is. So if anyone's interested, it's on Sidney Davis Jr.'s channel. I think it's pretty easy to find. Pretty sure mine was the only lecture that started with Yahweh, but yeah, cool, very cool. All right, I don't have anything else for verse 36. All right, so let's move on to verse 37. Ka'asher haya Adonai im Adoni Hamelech Ken Yehye im Shlomo Vigadel et Kiso Mikise Adoni Hamelech David. All right. So just as Adonai or Yahweh was with my Lord, the King, so let him be with Solomon. Let him make his throne greater than the throne of my Lord, the King David, or my Lord, King David. All right. There's a fair bit going on here. I will point out right away another Joseph here, Yehi. There we go. Now this is interesting in the only Qumran manuscript of that preserves. I believe it's the only one that preserves any of Kings, and it preserves this passage. It's actually got it pointed as a just a regular imperfect, third masculine singular imperfect. There it is. Yeah. It's also in the Septuagint, as you can see there. This is a pretty good indicator that that this was an older reading that's been updated for or changed for whatever reason within the Masoretic tradition. Yeah, so I've got another note here from Walt Kane O'Connor. You'll notice in my translation here, Et kiso mikise Adoni Hamelech David. May his throne be greater than the throne of my Lord, the King David. And again, a couple things here. The verb first, vigadel, is a regular PL, but because we've already got the Joseph in Yehi or Yehya, this is carrying forward as it does within Hebrew narrative, Hebrew prose. The consecution of the vowels in a phrase, in a clause, will carry forward the aspect and the sense of the first one. So, and here we've got a comparative indicated by the prefix preposition min. Here, just as the mem, I translated this as may his throne be greater than the throne of my Lord, the King David. This is very common within the Hebrew Bible to see these sorts of comparative expressions take the preposition min like this. Here's what Walt Kean O'Connor has to say about this phrase in 24.2h. They call it a factitive PL. The PL designates an affected state that governs an object. The factitive PL can be the result of a sensory causation, a real result available to the physical senses, or of a psychological or linguistic causation, a mental change, or a speech act that reflects mental change. So, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
This so like if people want that if that's a little over anybody's
You
head.
want to get that translated into something. Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
Oh no, so like the gadal as a verb, like in the cow would be like to become big or to be big or great. So gadol is big. But when you put it in the PL, it's increasing its valency by 1. It's like adding, it's adding an object, right? So you're making something into the state of big or great or whatever. So it's bringing about that state. And then the way that I always remembered this use of min, of course, all the first year, second year Hebrew students, like everybody knows min is like from. And so if you think about it, it would be like, and may he make object 1 or the object his throne great away from. So if you think about the original throne, this throne is going to be like away from David's throne. It's going to be so much better. So may he make it great away from David's throne. It's just like it's that much better. It's just away from it. They have to use a min to separate them out. That's how much great it is. So like better than. That's how it
Yeah, that's a
always
good point.
stuck with me. That's exactly how they thought too.
That's totally. It's exactly how they. It's exactly how they thought. I think Jason from the Hebrew Cafe. It's good to see you here. He makes a good point by saying that Yegadel should be causative. The subject is Yahweh, who will make his throne greater than the throne of my Lord King David. It isn't intransitive. It will be greater. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
I think it works here.
Yahweh's. That's what the factative is doing, right? That's what the PL. It's often how the PL is used. It's like it has its causative idea, but in this state of being, it's bringing about this state of being. So yes, absolutely right. May he make it great, which is why it's marking it with the object marker.
That's right. Yeah.
So. And also, do you want to comment? I can if you want, if you don't feel like it. But the fact that it's V.
Oh yeah. So this is the.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw that on you.
No, that's all right. So this happens in the Actually, no, you go ahead.
So if you have, sorry, that was awful of me to just bring that. Hey, explain this. No. So if you have 2 shavas, vocal shavas in a row, the first one will become heroic, the second one will go silent. But if you remember, here you have yegadel would be the form. So that shava is dropping out from underneath, and it's just becoming V. So vigadel. Trying to see another PL here. I tried for all the world for like 10 seconds to figure out why this was earlier this week. I was like, why in the world? What is this? Because it looks like a perfect, right? A Hifel perfect.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I was like, what is though? It's the Karathite.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, sorry.
No, yeah. Is that it for verse 37?
I think so.
Okay.
All right.
Let's read about the
38.
Karaites.
Vayered Tzadok HaKohen v'natan hanavi uvenayahu ven Yehoyada v'hakreti v'hapeleti vayarkivu et Shlomo al pirdat hamelech David. Vayochilu, Vayolichu oto al gichon. This is really cool here, the al. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And Zadok, the priest, went down along with Nathan the prophet and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada and the Kerethites and the Pelethites, and they mounted Solomon upon the female mule.
It's like a mule. Yeah.
Of the king, of King David, and they made him go to Gihon. Okay. Sorry about the kids in the background. They're brushing their teeth.
No, that's cool. It's all good.
All right. So Vayered, this is a Vav consecutive imperfect from Yarad. Notice the Tsere up here is indicative of a first Jude. So from Yarad. Did I have a cool memory device for Yarad to descend? Anyway, I don't know. Nope. Okay. So, and I translated this along with, because it's a singular, masculine singular here. Not that doesn't mean that can incorporate all of these, because it can, but I like doing it.
No, it's a good way to make that distinction, though.
Notice you have vav consecutive imperfect. A hifil vav consecutive imperfect, third masculine plural from rachav to ride, and so when you put it in the hifil to cause to ride, to make ride, the patach here, of course and the hirik underneath the middle radical sort of gives that away. So when they caused to ride, they mounted him, they set him up on the mule here is pirda. And so when you put it into construct with a word, that hey is way too weak. Because remember, the construct form, it's like creating a chain, right? Well, now you've got this hamelech hanging out there, and that's some bitch heavy, So there's no way that a hey, remember, there's a gap in a hey. Look at this. I mean, look at this hey. See that big
They're
gap
not even,
in there?
those arms aren't even connected.
Yeah, not connected.
It's just floating.
So that's what they do, right? On the end, when they got to attach something, they shore that thing up, and then they give it a little foot, just so it's got something to press against, right? So that's what you get when you get pirda will be pirdat hamelech. So, oops. Why is that not going back? Oh, because I'm hitting the wrong button.
Nice.
Okay. So upon the mule of King David, another hifil vav consecutive imperfect third plural from halach. Notice first haze will go to holam in this hifil form. Vayolichu, but notice the hirik underneath of the lam, the second radical, and they made him oti, otcha, otach, oto, ota. So made him oto, definite article, direct object marker, definite direct object marker with the third masculine singular object suffix. And then finally, the al here, you want to, you always want to translate that at first as upon or concerning or above or something. But here it clearly doesn't mean upon Gihon. And I don't remember the passages now, but you can look it up. There are several places
you can
where
say up to Gihon, eh?
Yeah. But I mean, it just it takes that, and I will bet dollars to pesos.
Oh yeah, there's probably
L.
yeah. So and yes,
Yep.
totally.
There it is.
Few is that sick PC. I think that's a few manuscripts
Yeah, apparently
of
apostate
versions
manuscripts
and the
and
versions. Yeah. So one of something that's kind of interesting also within the Dead Sea Scrolls is you see this with quite a bit of frequency where L and L actually start to interchange pretty regularly. So I think this is reflective of something that's happening at an earlier stage, that by the time, by the second century when they're writing the scrolls, there's a lot of interchange all of a sudden
nice.
between these two prepositions. So yeah, it's cool.
Nice.
I got a couple of so
Yeah,
I
please.
wanted to know. Oh, are you done?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Oh, okay. First of all, the Kerathites and the Pelethites. Who are these people? De Vries
You would
is
have something to
in,
say about that.
I like figuring this stuff out. De Vries in the commentaries that I checked, I looked at a couple, and it seems like most are agreed that these are probably Cretans and Philistines who were in David's service. There's I think Jason has a note here on L instead of L. BHS says that several men. Yeah, there we go. Thanks, Jason. You're on it. And Tomer mentioned that Targum Jonathan renders Kerathites and Pelethites as archers and slingers. That's pretty great, eh?
Nice.
So nice. All right. Yeah. So I guess that's me, right? Verse 39. Okay. Vayikach Zadok HaKohen et Keren HaShemen min HaOhel Vayimshach et Shlomo Vayitkeu Bashofar Vayomru Kol Ha'am Yehi Hamelech Shlomo. All right. So, Zadok, the priest, took the horn of oil from the tent, and he anointed Solomon. And they sounded with the shofar, and all the people said, let the King Solomon live, or long live the King Solomon. So shofars, those are the evangelicals like the shofars, Josh.
Little appropriation never hurt nobody. You're
All
one
right.
of those guys, aren't you? God.
Bit
of an inside joke there, folks. Sorry.
All right. So this, first of all, Vayikach is a cow imperfect, vav consecutive. You're tempted. I know you people are tempted. You're looking at this and you're going, "Is this a PL?" Because it's got that that dogish inside the koch, inside the, sorry, what did I call it? Inside the cough.
You've been reading some German.
I don't know what I'm doing. And so this is what happens with this verb. This is lakach, and it behaves like a first noon verb, and where in the imperfect form, the lamed will disappear and be represented by that little dot in the kof. The et keren hashemen. So this is notice that in this construct phrase, the horn of oil, the definiteness is determined by the absolute noun always. In this case, it's super handy because we actually have the definite article hey attached to shemen. I assume the ohel in this instance this is probably with reference to the tent of meeting or the tabernacle. And it's fun. Vayimshach. This is another just Cowlin perfect verb. Third masculine singular. The root of this verb is mashach, which just means to anoint. But this word, this is the root of the word Mashiach.
Jesus.
What?
So this is Jesus. Someone,
this
right?
is Jesus. Somehow it is. So this is the word Mashiach or Messiah. Is just a transliteration of this word in Hebrew, which means the one who's anointed or the anointed one. It's a nominal form of this verb, mashach, which means to anoint. Anything else here? Oh yeah, I think that's it for me. I did want to say one other thing. Vayitku bashofar is literally they blew into the shofar, which I think is very nicely literally descriptive of what's going on here.
I'd be interested to know though. So prepositions, just so everybody reviews this, sometimes prepositions do carry their like regular meaning, and in this case, I'd have to just look at the usages. Kipp may have done that already, and so it is translating in that way. Very often, certain verbs in certain nuances will take a bait just as an object marker.
That's true too. Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of an example. Off the top of my head, I'm not remembering any. But it could just be,
because
yeah,
it's going to come to me in like an hour, right?
But the thing to do is just we moved. I don't know if you guys can tell, but the books are different behind me. We reorganized our library, so now my commentary is starting up here in Genesis, or up here. So I was going to turn around and grab Hollow, but I can't. But if you just look in the dictionary at different uses, it'll tell you. This verb will often take bait as the direct object marker, or the object marker. Yeah, direct object marker. But yeah. Anyway, so we just have to look.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, it's entirely possible in many of these cases that your pastor will say, yes, you see, it's utilizing the lamed here, and which is like 2 or 4 in Hebrew, and so this is carrying a meaning. You're just like, no, it's just the object. It's just how they mark it with that verb. So
it's the prophetic perfect, Josh.
This is a clear pluperfect form.
Yes. So Jason from Hebrew Cafe also makes a good point that you could translate this as well with the shofar. They blew with the shofar with the bet.
I'm tempted.
I don't know if he's being cheeky, but I
let me. I'm gonna be crazy.
Are you gonna look it up just to see if
I just want to see what Hollow says about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think it's a good thing that people can kind of know what we're talking about. Hopefully, it's not too small. What verse is that? 38.
It's 39. You're just checking up Taka to see if it takes the bet.
Yeah. Boy, that is small. So I don't know if you guys can see that. Let's see.
I see it again in Exodus 10, 8. The priests Yetka'u Bahatso. My text is so small. Bahatso wrote. So what are those? Those are the trumpets.
So here are 2 examples with the shofar that don't, let's see, have it with the beat. My God, that's so small. Yeah.
It is hard to see.
Oh, wait, here we go.
Oh, yeah. And again in Numbers 6:4. Yitka'u
Yes.
b'shofarot with the shofars.
Does it have a bait?
The plural. Yeah, it does.
So this is what we did. Like actually, the
and
answer
again
here doesn't.
it's really frequent. Joshua 6:8, and 9, 6:13. So yeah, so that's the Jericho story, right? It's always it's always with the bet there.
So here are a bunch of it, but just I don't know how much people can see of what I'm doing here on the screen
Judges
or what
7:18.
understand. But what we're doing is you just look at examples, and see, what actually occurs, right? So the methodology actually here is more important than actually what the answer is. So that's what you want to do. So if somebody's coming and saying, "Oh my gosh, look, yeah, it uses this, bait, or it uses a lamed, and so like this is really important. It has this exegetical, this nuance, whatever." Just like hold your horses for a second and go just look at a bunch of examples of it. And if you see, that bait is governing marking the object in all these different examples, probably doesn't have this great significance that the person seems to, maybe is intending.
Most likely not.
Yeah.
Most likely not. All right. Verse 40?
Yes. Vaya'alu chol ha'am acharav. V'ha'am mechalalim b'chalilim. That is just beautiful.
Fun.
Usmechim
it gets better.
Usmechim simcha gdola. V'tibaka haaretz b'kolam. Yeah, lots of cool stuff.
God, I'm so glad you got that verse.
Oh my gosh. All right. So Vaya'alu. Now you might be this is a cow. You might be tempted to think it's Hifil because of this. This patach underneath of the performative, but it's not. Where it comes from is you have a first guttural, right? And that first guttural, instead of getting just a regular vocal shava, we'll get a composite shava, which is always vocal. And this is vowel harmony. It's an echo back. So instead of it being va yilu, I try to think of how you do that with the first guttural, but this patach here is echoing back off of the vocal shava or the composite shava. So vaya'alu. So it's from Allah to go up.
Did you translate it?
So in all the people. Oh, I didn't translate it. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's all good. This is how bad it gets. I don't know if I've told this story before, but in my 5th year, I think, at seminary, getting my THM, we were Hebrew was just what we wanted to do. I wanted to do it all the time. And my friend Stephen and I were like the senior students or whatever. And so we begged Homer Heater, Dr. Heater, to teach us just like a private, just the 3 of us class. And so he took us through Jeremiah.
We are rabbi, please.
But we got to the point that we would read the Hebrew out loud like this, and it made so much sense that we would start to do just what I just did and start to break down the grammar. And he'd be like, "Are you going to translate it?" I go, "Oh, didn't you understand it? I don't." Okay. And so, and all the people went up after him. And the people, it's like blew on flutes with flutes.
Yeah. I think I
They
said
fluted.
fluted with
They
flutes.
fluted with flutes. What is this called? It's like to sacrifice a sacrifice. There's a word for it, and I can't. It's slipping my mind
Really?
now.
I don't know this.
Yeah, it's the. Damn it! Oh, it's terrible. Anyway, somebody will say it in the chat. And they rejoiced, or I'm sorry, and all the people were fluting with flutes and were rejoicing with a great rejoicing. So these are PL participles. You can tell because of the mem shava prefix, and of course the dagesh in the middle radical with the shava vocal shava underneath of it. Same thing.
There it is, Josh. Jason's got us. It's a cognate accusative.
Yes, cognate accusative. Thank you. There are certain grammatical phrases that I forget, like the a chiastic concord with the numbers, the first 10 numbers. Yeah, it's just stuff like that. Yeah. All right. So they were fluting while fluting with flutes, and while rejoicing with great joy.
Rejoicing.
So simcha gdola, notice kol sason ve kol simcha. Remember that? That's how I remember that.
I didn't sing that song.
Yeah, but you have to do this while you do it. So you look really nerdy.
Yeah, obviously, I can see that.
But see, you would do it like.
Well,
sorry.
This is probably why I didn't do it, right?
This is why people tune in right now. We've gotten just far enough into the stream that we've gotten loose.
The show today is no exception to some of the great work that I've done in the past.
No exception. Oh my God. Sick flex, bro.
Okay. Right, we're doing something here, aren't we?
We are.
All right.
So let's see. Yes. So vatibaka is the nifal form. Notice the nifal. So ekatel, tikatel, tikateli, yikatel, tikatel. But notice because of the third guttural, it takes the patach instead of the tsere, is it's drawing that a vowel. But this is an assimilated nun. But that this Hirik comets with the patach. With the dagesh in the first radical is sort of a nifal giveaway. So it was, now baka means to split. So like the Baka Valley.
Yeah.
So like if you read some of these translations, and it's fine, like I get it, like the earth shook, you'll see it translated, but it's like it's split. The earth was split. So I didn't spend a lot of time doing philology.
I love saying cleaved. The earth was cleaved by their voice.
And notice the third masculine plural object suffix, like with their voice. Notice here, this is a definite noun, but it's not getting its definiteness from a definite article. It gets it rather from the object suffix, and so that leaves. It requires that there be no. You can't have double definiteness. So you can get definiteness from a construct where the absolute noun is either like a proper noun or has the definite article or something to that effect, or has this object suffix appended to it. If it has an object suffix, it'll be definite. And notice, last thing, the standard you have when you have a Definite article, you get compensatory lengthening here because you can't have a patak, you can't double the aleph with a dogish forte, and so you get compensatory lengthening because you have an open syllable that is unaccented, so it has to have a long vowel, and because of that ha, you get ha aretz for vowel harmony as opposed to ha eretz. So in Genesis 1:1, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et ha aretz, not ha eretz. Yeah, I think that's all I.
Tomer notes that Targum Jonathan has translated it, the earth shook.
Yeah.
Other voices, which is interesting, because you'd think the Aramaic translators would know some Hebrew. A couple things. Jason from Hebrew Cafe also points out. He says, "I love that v'ya'alu is plural, while the explicit subject ha'am is grammatically singular. This is constructio ad sensum." Yes, because of the collective noun will sometimes, it can go both ways too, right?
Mm-hmm. That's
Sometimes
right.
it'll be marked with a plural verb. Sometimes it'll be marked with a singular verb. Collectives are fun.
They certainly are.
Oh yeah, and Tomer notes again here that Targum Jonathan reads praising in the dances instead of fluting with flutes. That's fun.
Yeah, I bet there's. I would imagine that. What verse is 40?
Yeah.
Oh boy,
nothing there. Oh no, there's. It's just ha'am. Oh, I missed that 40? One.
Is it BB?
Yeah.
It's okay. Sorry, we don't have to. If we can spend all night looking at.
Yeah, it was actually.
Apparatus.
Yeah, it was the fluting with the flutes. So, but cool.
All right.
We should probably plow forward though, right?
Yeah.
Was this? Yeah, that's right. You got that one. Okay. Verse 41. V'yishma Adoniyahu v'chol hakruim asher ito v'heim kil'u le'echol v'yishma Yoav et kol hashofar v'yomer madua kol hakirya choma. All right. So Adonijah and all his invitees, all of his guests, heard. Or all of his guests who were with him heard the sound. You remember the sound that cleaved the earth? This is what they heard, and they were just finishing eating. They were just finishing to eat, and Joab heard the sound of the shofar, and he said, "It's something like, why is the sound of the city an uproar?" Basically, there's some intriguing things going on here. So we've got that again with the with the verb here, vayishma. This is a singular verb. It's a cal vav consecutive imperfect, third masculine singular. The main subject is Adonijah, but also v'chol hakruim asher ito, all of basically his invited guests who were with him. And notice here too, we had the the direct object marker oto up in a verse above. This is not the definite object marker. This is ito, which is the preposition that we generally translate as with. So see the difference. They are vocalized differently. They look exactly the same in the consonantal text, but you know them by how they sound. ito versus oto. Yeah. Where am I? Oh, there we go. Sorry, I lost my place. What else do I have here? So I've got a note here from Joan about this phrase at the end. Maruwa kol hakirya choma, that I translated. Why is the sound of the city in uproar? He says that regarding the attributive accusative, he says this is of state, and it takes the participle. Choma is a participle. It's a feminine singular participle from the verb hama. He says the absence of the article after a determinate noun indicates that the participle is not in apposition. There are quite a few examples with kol, which it means voice generally, but consistently throughout the Hebrew Bible, it is translated it as sound. This is the noise that something makes. It's appropriate. We make noises, and that we make them with our mouths, our voices. So he says that his translation, Joan's translation of this phrase is, what is the meaning of this tumult of the city that is heard? I don't know. I feel like it's a bit unnecessarily complex.
I think what he's trying to draw out is that these two are together, not these two.
Yes.
Because this construction with kol and a participle, it's pretty common.
Yeah.
And you get it. You might ask, why do you know this, Josh? Good question. So in Genesis 3, you see, and I'm trying to pull it from memory here. I think it's kol Yahweh Elohim mithalech. So the sound of Yahweh walking. So it's mithalech, of course, is hit by a participle from halach. Check me on that and make sure that I've got the wording right there. But the mithalech is Yahweh walking. It's not his sound walking. And so I suspect that's what John's trying to draw out.
Right. Yeah, I think
modifying
so. It's yeah, exactly. No, I think that's good.
So it's like the sound of the noisy city or something, the sound of the uproaring
literally
city.
the roaring city. Yeah, because I think Choma in Halot, if you look this up, the priority definition there is roar.
Yeah.
So yeah, make a noise, be tumultuous, roar. Should we read one more, and then there's a couple of super chats to answer? Cool. All right. So that's verse 42, right?
Yep. Odenu medaber, v'hine Yonatan ben Evyatar hakohen ba, vayomer Adoniyahu bo ki ish chayalata. Sorry. I can do it for me. Sorry, I was trying to scroll over, but then I realized it stops here. V'tov tevaser. Okay, shouldn't have moved this. Damn it, Josh. Okay. While he was still speaking, so this is from Ode, still, and this enu is the third masculine singular object suffix. And the way that you read this is while he, and normally, I don't know about normally, very often has a participle following. So this is a PL, active participle, masculine singular from Dalet Beit Resh.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, and while he was still speaking, like asking this question, what's going on here? This hine, I'm leaving it untranslated. because again, hine is like
Yeah.
immediacy, and I think the immediacy is picked up here. I don't think in English we need anymore. So, and while he was still speaking, like if you wanted to say it just then, Jonathan, the son of Eviatar, the priest, came in. So cow perfect. Third masculine singular from Bo. And he said, Adonai just said, come, imperative, masculine singular, because a man of Kyle, it's like virtue or warriorness. I mean, it's like, it's you're a good guy,
wealth,
right?
too.
Yeah, that's right.
But I also think that there's it's implied, because usually these sorts of things tend to follow class.
Yeah, that's a good point. So enter or come, because you are like a man of valor or whatever.
Guy. Yeah.
And this is the real reason, right?
Yeah.
Tov tefaseh, and you will bring news, like you will report well, like you'll report good news. So tefaseh is to just report news. It can be good or bad. Here the modifier is tov, so you'll have good news. It's a PL. Imperfect, second masculine singular from basar. So, much to Adonijah's chagrin, that will not be the case. But we'll pick that up, I guess, next week. Or
I think it's already after 6 or 9 where you are, or it's probably time for breakfast in the land of Israel. But there was one thing that if you just leave the text up for a second, there was one or two other things that so I looked this up because I thought it was interesting. There's like an energic an energic noon on the on the suffix, the third masculine singular suffix odenu. So I looked it up, and it always this particular adverb always takes it that way, which I think is kind of interesting. And also because people love this kind of stuff, and because we're doing our best to point out all the prophetic perfects. Tibaser, this is the famous verb meaning to bring good news that we find in Isaiah chapter 61 verse 1. This is the Hebrew equivalent of the Greek verb, or the Greek. What is the verb of euangelion? Is I don't even know. I won't try. Probably something probably something like that. But the good news. This is the word for it in Hebrew.
I should point something out. And I'm just looking to see if there's one here. Happens all the time in the prophets. There is a form or a structure, a construction that prophets use very, very frequently, to say like, I'm about to do something, right? It's like really soon I'm getting ready. Like it's going to happen soon. And that is hine, usually hineni, with a participle. So hineni may be min hatzafon, like behold, I am bringing from the north, Jeremiah says, the king of Babylon.
Right.
But like you see that, it's a what a middle or deponent verb. But so like there is a prophetic, and that's right. Yep, in an AMV. So yeah, like
there is a yes.
you don't have to go finding them, making them up. No, but
they're out there.
They have a way they do it.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, I got a couple of super chats, but before I do those, Tomer had, oh no, I did that one already. There was one more here. He did make this is from Kogan's commentary. Often the Hebrew Ish Chayil describes a capable person, hence it suggests reliability and trust in adverse circumstances. And I think
it probably
that
carries all that along with it, right? Like if you're a reliable person, it's probably because you're a good status, you've got money, you've got, so
exactly. It's all the things. You can probably lift a big rock over your head.
Probably 100 pounds right up over his head.
All right. Got a couple super chats. I hope you're still here, Godless Granny. So she asked, can God made them male and female mean a single person or both, or could it mean God made several people? So I think in Genesis chapter 1, I think it's it's not a single person. And I would have to look it up because I actually think it does it use the
Is it Zachar or
third
Nekeva?
plural? Yeah. But I think it also uses the what is that? Genesis
does he bless when he says he blessed them?
Oh,
I'm assuming it has the.
Or is it? It's 127. 127. Bara oto. Zakar. Unkela. Bara otam. So yeah, it with the third plural suffix there, he created them. It kind of eliminates the possibility that this is a single person. And I think within the context of Genesis 1 and what the story is about, you could certainly see these as collectives as well. I think much more interestingly, and I'm currently writing about this, and it's always fun in Genesis chapter 2. You have a stronger case because Yahweh God makes the Adam, which we understand as the man or as Adam, although it's weird because it's got the definite article on it's literally the Adam. And the Adam is created, and then God puts him to sleep, and he takes the rib out and makes a woman from that. So
baculum, Kipp.
It's the baculum.
Also, be really careful because depending on who's listening to this, you might have a weird religion spawn off because God created the atom. Science. The atom. ATOM. Nice. It's a wordplay in English.
Wow. The things that I learn from apologists, it's amazing. So as I was saying though, there is a preformed being prior to the creation of the woman that the Adam calls Eve, and there's a case to be made that this being is not just a man, but that the woman was in some respect in there and taken out. So that's I think that one's more fun, but I don't know. I hope that answers your question, Godless Granny. You got anything else on that, Josh?
No.
All right, and I think it's just love from here. Keith Gardek, thank you for the super chat. He sent us $20. Kippers and Joshers, the Nephilim's favorite meal.
Nice.
That's true. I've learned this that the Nephilim, the giants, they ate people, eh? They were man-eaters. There's a song.
I am reading Lauren Stuckenbrook's work now, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
this is going to be very fun because I have a chapter called in volume 3 called Giant Problems.
Yes, that's
so
awesome.
It's gonna be fun.
Oh, okay. Now that you mention that, we definitely have to do this. We have to dive into this podcast that I'm listening to for our show. Wow. Stuckenbrook, by the way, is like a concert pianist, eh? Like quality.
You know what? That doesn't surprise me.
No, I know. He's so good. Lady Wasser, thank you for the super chat, and I am sorry that you are not going to be with us on Sunday. She said tithing tonight since I'll miss live Sunday. Thanks for all you do. We love you too. We're sorry that you won't be there. And Jason, thank you for the 17.9 shekels. Here's a close to 18 shekels as I can make it. It's great spending time with you guys. Nothing like secular Hebrew Bible reading. Much love. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, it's the best.
It's awesome.
The secular Bible reading is the best. Thanks, everyone, for coming out and for your generosity and hanging out with us. What do you got going on this week and upcoming, Josh?
I don't remember.
It's just, that's okay. Because honestly, nothing compares to what we're doing on Sunday.
That's true.
Right?
We're diabolic critics. Yep.
No, the Diablo, the Diablo critics. There we go.
Critics.
I don't know. We've been typing it. We've never actually had to say it. So who knows how it goes.
Amazing.
It's going to be epic, you guys. It's going to be so good. I am so excited about this. Dr. Jennifer Bird is going to be there. Dr. Dan McClellan is going to be there. Dr. Matt Monger is going to be there. Josh and I are going to be there. My friend, David McDonald of Deep Drinks Podcast is so excited about this that he has agreed to help me produce the show and keep track of the chat and everything that's going on, which is crazy because he's getting up at 5:00 on a Monday morning to do it. We're going to be stretched across, God, what is that? Like 17 time zones. So it's it's going to be amazing.
What is going on in the chat?
I don't know.
About
I haven't been paying attention.
Hebrew having vowels.
Oh.
You know what? I shouldn't look because then I'll get sucked into it. Somebody was trying to make an argument to me like last week that because Hebrew, when it was just written as a consonantal text, didn't have vowel pointing, that they didn't actually say vowels.
How do you even do that?
You know what? Your guess is far better than mine. God.
Wow. That's like, that's a mongrel of a language there, I tell you. If you can make it without
how do you have syllables? Like, what do you do? Like, how do you? Yeah.
It was just a mess of. It was just like, Bleh! It's like there. That's the entire Hebrew Bible and all the sounds.
Gosh.
So yeah, wow, cool. All right, well, I got to get some dinner on.
Yep.
You've got kids to beat. So
sleep to get.
I will
I got
sleep to get. You got that. All right. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Love you. We will we'll see you Sunday and then again in 2 weeks. All right. Going out.